Warren Haynes joining me in the Rock 104.9 studios. I think we're going on, is it an even decade with this? I remember the very first one I attended of the Christmas Jams was number 11, and now we're on number 22. So it might have been about 10 years with you. It's just great to see you again.
Well, I'm always glad to be back here. Yeah, you came in at the halfway point. It was just starting to take off, really, because as you know, with the history of it, it started out as a much smaller event. But it's grown a lot even in the last 11 years.
I never saw one of the shows at some of your original venues. The first ones I saw were the Thomas Wolfe, and now, of course, at the Civic Center. This year's lineup, stellar as always. The Steve Miller Band, who hadn't been here in the 10 years I'd lived here previous, and all of a sudden he's here twice in 1 year. I know folks are excited to see him. Greg Allman returns. And here's something a lot of folks want to hear you talk about. The Warren Haynes Band, the first time playing together, at least on stage in front of a live crowd, Saturday night, right?
It's actually going to be the first time that some of these songs have ever been played other than in the studio when we recorded them. The first time that this band will have played together, and it's not the exact band that's going to be touring next year, and we're still finalizing some of that. I did the record with George Porter Jr. playing bass, and Ivan Neville and Ian McLaughlin from The Faces both playing keyboards, and Raymond Weber from Ivan's band Dumpster Funk playing drums, with Ron Holloway playing sax, and with Ruthie Foster and Ivan both singing backup. And George has a prior commitment with Seven Walkers, which is the band that he's in with Bill Kreutzmann from the Grateful Dead.
Right.
And Raymond Weber has a prior commitment. So our friend Ron Johnson, who a lot of us know from playing with Carl Denson, is filling in for George. And Terrence Higgins, who plays with Dirty Dozen Brass Band, is filling in for Raymond. And they're both amazing. And we rehearsed. It was feeling really good, so I think we're excited to do it. But it's a little intimidating, you know, to play these songs at the Christmas Jam for the first time. Nobody's ever heard them, but the record's coming out in May, I believe, and we just thought that the Christmas Jam was the right place to debut some of the new material, you know, and very excited about it. For people that haven't heard me talk about it, it's soul music, you know. It's basically, if you combine the soul music I grew up with, the late 60s, early 70s, with blues like Albert King and Freddie King and B.B. King from the early 70s, when they were kind of veering off toward soul music in their recordings, if you blend those two things together, that's a good blueprint for what I was kind of going after. You know, it's all original material except for one song, but it all harkens back to my pre-rock and roll influences when I was listening to that stuff.
I'm going to guess most musicians, professionals or otherwise, are envious of your ability to do what you want to do. You can create a sound with Government Mule. You know, you can play with the Allmans, different sound. You've played with the Dead, multitude of others, and now the Warren Haynes Band is something else that you can do. To have that freedom must just be a musician's dream.
My stubbornness has paid off. Yeah. I've definitely have been very lucky to have made all the decisions in my career based on what I really, really wanted to do in my heart, and it's paid off. You know, there have been good years, bad years, and everywhere in between, but I think one of the reasons that I'm still around and still am able to do this for a living is because I haven't at any point tried to second guess the marketplace and thought, well, maybe people would like me more if I did this instead of what I'm doing, you know. Although I do recommend that philosophy to anyone that's in a creative artistic format, I can't say that it would always work, and you have to have the patience and the durability to kind of let it do what it's doing year after year after year, you know. And I've made a lot of sacrifices in order to be able to do that, but I don't think I would have been happy any other way, you know. When the 80s came along and disco kind of took over, and the music business changed, and music in general changed, and a lot of bands like the Allman Brothers kind of bowed out, stopped touring, stopped making records. I think musicians all over the country were kind of going, what do we do now? And in my case, I was really young, so I moved to Nashville and started trying to do studio work. But then as it started coming back with people like Stevie Ray Vaughan and Robert Cray, then there was a window for the Allman Brothers again. And then when I wound up in that band, I kind of inherited their audience to an extent, which was great because I was such a fan. My music that I was writing was similar to that, but it was also different. So it was like, okay, how do I mix the similarities and the differences together and try and create an audience of my own, you know? And I think the answer was always just do what you feel is right, you know? But again, I got to attribute a lot of it to luck and stubbornness.
Well, why don't you do what you feel right now? Let's do a song for everyone listening. I know I've been looking forward to this. This is one of the things that I look forward to all season long. It reminds me of Christmas. I know Christmas is here when I get to see and hear you in the studio, so hop on one.
Sure. I can feel the rain fall down like tears upon my shoulders. I can feel the hard wind blow on forevermore. I can feel the gods look down. Some laugh while some are crying. I can feel their wasted tears crown forevermore. Can't you see? My whole world is nothing without you. Can't you see? My whole world is nothing without you. Once in a lullaby, you brought me joy and laughter. Now that it's all used up, I cry forevermore. Once in a lullaby, a paper sun was shining. Now that it's all burned up, darkness forevermore. Can't you see? My whole world is nothing without you. Can't you see? My whole world is nothing without you. Where will I run to when I need a place to hide? Far away from New York City. Who will I turn to now that our love has died? I can feel the rain fall down like tears upon my shoulders, but I can't feel my love. She's gone forever.